So now that West Indies played their third warm-up match, I'm hoping that things will get way better.
Welcome, Sports Nation, to Sports DTM, the sports channel where we call sports down the middle. You can expect the latest in sports news, views, and reviews from our resident analysts. No sports topic is too controversial, and no team or player is above criticism. So just smash that subscribe button and ring that notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on our balanced offering of riveting sports content. And don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment below. Welcome to Sports DTM.
Greetings, Sports DTM fans, and welcome to another episode of Sports Down the Middle, your channel of undiluted sports content. The analysts are here to provide their feedback on West Indies versus South Africa, the second match for both teams. And Adrian, how you feel about this matchup?
Well, Kurt, thank you much. Welcome, viewers. I'm not so sure how to feel about this match. You're talking about the number 9 ranked team in the West Indies versus the number 5 team. Both putting on horrible displays. I guess the West Indies did worse. You're hoping that somehow they can rebound from this and actually play excellent and actually win. I mean, you think they'll be happy to see South Africa, but the truth is that the last time the South Africa met the West Indies in West Indies, South Africa actually won that series. So, yeah, we're hoping that the West Indies will finally come good.
Before you go into details of that, though, Ray, just give me how you feel about this matchup. I am nervous again, as usual. With the West Indies, there's always drama. Not as much as they have had with England, but it's South Africa. Should I be this nervous?
So I'm scared to call it. I remember the last time I attempted, and what transpired was something I would like to forget about. But since, as I highlighted, is the third warm-up match is out the way, I'm figuring that since, and this is a weird match, but stay with me, people. West Indies beat Australia.
Don't go into the match. Don't go into the match yet.
All right.
Go into the match yet, right?
We're not going to the match.
It's not the first time these two teams are playing. They have played 15 matches between them. South Africa leading. They have won 9. West Indies only 6, and they have played 3 times in international T20 World Cup. South Africa leading on that one as well, 2-1. Adrian, should we expect the same beating? Should I also call the West Indies South Africa beating stick, or the numbers are too close to that?
Stop it. Of course, the West Indies lost to South Africa in the Caribbean in 2021, 3-2, but these matches were very close matches. You're talking about South Africa winning a match by 25 the last match, West Indies winning by 21, South Africa winning by 1 run, 16 run, the West Indies winning a match by 8 wickets. It's not normally a runaway match. That if you can take some comfort from that. And the only challenge though is that the net run rate for the West Indies at this time is at a negative 3.97, while South Africa is at a negative 0.253. So therefore, it would appear that the West Indies from the get-go is under a lot more pressure after the horrible performance that was done against England, which Kieran Pollard has said we accept it and they are moving along, and we are speedily moving along and want to see the back of it.
Raymond, I don't even want to talk about what Pollard said yet, because the last time him tell we said them are gonna run and they never run nothing.
Never run between those sticks.
But this is a bottom of the table clash up at the moment. South Africa versus the West Indies. I mean, the last 2 matches were horrible.
Yeah, so that's true. West Indies, remember how horrible that was. Australia, South Africa versus Australia in that game, it could have gone either way. And South Africa pretty much lost to Australia, just barely, narrowly. And we all know, and we can actually do the maths now, right? We all know how good West Indies when they play Australia So I'm gonna do this maths. Once and finally we'll do this maths. West Indies beat Australia 4-1, right?
Yes.
Australia beat South Africa narrowly. So should I assume that West Indies will beat South Africa? Or in fact, even though the ranking is what it is, it might be better than South Africa on the day. I know it's not exact science, guys, but let us really consider it.
You're plugging in that into your win model.
Adrian, while Raymond calculates a fail him, right? The mystery spinner for South Africa was the key against the West Indies, because we saw when they played against England, one bowler really destroyed the top order, and it was a spinner. So Shamsi, a top-ranked spin bowler in T20 cricket, will be the deciding factor.
Yeah, Kurt. Shamsi, excellent left arm spin bowler. He destroyed the West Indies. Was of course the man of the series in that series that earlier in the West Indies. He is known to have very good variations, excellent googly and entertaining bowler. And the West Indies, having struggled last time out against Rashid with England, will be wary of Shamsi coming and twisting on these pitches. We know that the pitches over in the UAE are favorable to spin bowlers. And this particular bowler was an economy, I think, somewhere in the region of about 6.79 thereabout, which is very good. So it's expected that he's going to come, he's going to utilize the grounds. The West Indies will need to be able to see him off. If he starts anywhere near to how Rashid and the English started against again in the last match, then the West Indies will be in problems. So the West Indies will want to dominate this player and not let him get the upper hand. But the West Indies are not known to play very well against spin bowlers, and so this is a big area of concern.
So, Raymond, whilst Adrian talked about Shamsi and his ability to dominate the West Indies, also part of the key for the West Indies is to try and win the toss and bowl first.
Yeah, absolutely. We see that most teams do better chasing. There's something about that the night dew, something of that sort, that creates some problem for the fielders when they're feeling second, in a sense. So there's a little issue there. And as well, it almost seems like a lot of teams like to chase. A team put on a score and then they go out and chase it. And as such, West Indies is one such team who does really, really well when chasing. We all remember Brathwaite and all of those heroics. West Indies is that type of team that wants to chase. And
Raymond, we have moved past England and Brathwaite.
It's more along the line of chasing and giving you drama at the end and pulling off the victory.
So with this way, Kurt, the West Indies does better when they know what target is ahead of them, instead of them actually trying to set the target. So, I mean, we saw whereby if you want to win the West Indies, they put them in first because they don't know how much is the best score to put on the table. So if they are there, they'll come out and actually, just slug away and swing. But let's see.
Yes. We would like to share what some of our other analysts have to say about this matchup. Eddie?
West Indies versus South Africa. This promises to be another exciting match. We've seen a lot of exciting matches in the tournament so far. And, both teams coming off a loss, but I believe that South Africa will be the most confident of the two. Narrowly losing out to Australia, the 2 balls ago. They could have won that game easily. Meanwhile, the West Indies, terrible performance against the English. Just 55 runs on the board. So I believe that South Africa, though losing the first game as well, I think they're in much better form. The West Indies have been on this long losing streak and losing a lot of warm-up games as well coming into the tournament. So the West Indies definitely need a big performance. Don't know where we get that from, but at this moment it's just bat up and catch. So I see South Africa winning this game. Don't want to say it, but the writing looks to be on the wall. So South Africa should take this one.
So Eddie's asking for a big performer. Who will be that big performer?
Hey, has to be Chris Gayle, right? We have been calling Chris Gayle out. He has been trying to bat himself into form. As a matter of fact, get this, he was a top scorer in the last match. The problem is that he only scored 13 runs, which is not good enough. He looked pretty good in terms of putting away 2 boundaries, and we said, boy, it looked like Chris Gayle is up for it. He's fired up. And then he quickly lost his wicket and it went all downhill from there. If the West Indies are to win this game, Christopher Henry Gayle has got to score a big innings, and he has to do it from the start.
So before you come in on that, Ray, let me play another one of the analysts.
West Indies versus South Africa. This one should be a cracker. With both teams losing their opening game and with no points on the board, they have no option but to go for it. West Indies, with a very good team on paper, has yet to deliver, but we expect at some point in time they will turn up. We're not sure if it's this game or the next, but this talented West Indies team has the mental fortitude to win this match. However, the South African team is not a rollover, and we saw them against Australia with less than 120 runs on the board, and they almost defended it. With a very strong bowling attack and a very good batting lineup, the South Africans are not going to come and lay down for the West Indies to roll over them. It's going to be a very good game. South Africa to win, West Indies to fight.
Mental fortitude. Which team him at that about? The West Indies have, but Raymond, seriously, on paper, he said on paper, West Indies have the team to beat South Africa. And we've been talking about this even in the last preview, England versus the West Indies. On paper, if these players come good, there's no team out there that can beat them, but that is the if.
Yeah, and that's it. If the players, as I remember one of the titles of the video, will Chris Gayle explode? I mean, a lot of them. If Chris Gayle explode, Pollard explode, Lewis explode, you're seeing almost pushing 150 and above if those players explode. But if you get a good start, you almost can expect everybody would try for pile on the runs. And the good start really have to come from Lewis and Chris Gayle. So once that happens, you can expect a good fight from the West Indies. Especially, and also if them win the toss and decide to bat second.
So let us hear from another of our analysts.
With this game between West Indies and South Africa, it's definitely going to be a cracker. With both sides coming off defeats, I do expect that West Indies will actually bounce back. In previous occasion, the games were narrowly close, and it seemed West Indies win. I do expect the team to show up and show that fighting spirit in which they started to show in the England game. Unfortunately, that was a poor display by them in that England game, but I do expect that they will bounce back in this game against South Africa. Hopefully, like Chris Gayle and Pollard, the big hitters, could actually start to stake their claim in this tournament. So, hoping for the win and all the best.
So he's hoping that the big hitters will come good, Adrian, and he mentioned Chris Gayle and Pollard, but there's Evan Lewis Lendell Simmons, Andre Russell, Etmire, all of these players there, and the wicketkeeper, Puran. All of these players are players who typically clear the boundary with ease.
Look, Kurt, the truth is that these players are big hitters. The last set of games that they have played, both in the tournament and the warm-up, it's all been about a hit and miss. Everybody is swinging, not recognizing that there are many ways to reach the boundary, right? Every cricket ball doesn't have to travel high. It can also go low, right? The ball can go for a 4 versus a 6, and there are many different paths to the field. Everything isn't a heave, right? It can also be a run in between the wicket, but we know that these players aren't made to run between the wicket, so they're going to get a big hit. But it's just that play the ball on the ground now. Every now and again they go for the high one, but if you're going to go high, you have to be absolutely sure, because these boundaries are these grounds are very big, the boundaries are long, and as such, your safest thing to do is to keep that ball flowing on the ground so it can actually go run away to the boundary for 4. And when you're absolutely sure and really can go for it, then you go for the 6, which is going high.
And that is trying to think about it logically, but T-Gat want a piece of this, so let's hear what T-Gat have to say.
Yeah, West Indies versus South Africa. What can we expect? Fireworks? Don't know. But we hope West Indies can pull through this one. See, they played the first match against England. Wow, they were bowled out for nothing. Nothing at all. They were bowled out for. South Africa coming in now. Boy, let's see what's going to happen. But it's going to be an interesting one for us to look towards. Yeah, man, West Indies versus South Africa. I hope the West Indies can bat well. Yeah, don't make no 50-yard runs. Yeah, put up a good, decent total. As they look at the game coming out, some games coming out, when we see Bangladesh and Sri Lanka, you understand, high total, and Sri Lanka was able to box it off. So West Indies have to come good.
So we are hoping that the West Indies will come good, but Raymond, 2 things that you want to see differently from the last matchup.
Well, one is that I want Chris Gayle to explode. And 2, I want Chris Gayle to explode times 2.
Adrian, what the West Indies need to do to turn this around against South Africa?
Well, first of all, the West Indies need to hopefully win the toss so they can actually bat second. And the next thing is they can't be out of 55, right? So yeah, they need to be hitting 150 and above to actually be in the game and to actually make up on the deficit in terms of the net run rate that we're behind on. So those are my 2 things.
Fans out there, this has been another episode of Sports Down the Middle. West Indies will take on South Africa in their second T20 International World Cup Super 12 matchup. And South Africa is 12-1 favorite to win the tournament. West Indies 5-1 favorites to win. Fans out there, we would love to hear from you. What do you think the team needs to do differently to win this matchup? Leave all those comments in the comment section below. And always remember to like, to share, and to subscribe. And to tell our friends, tell our friends, tell our friends, tell all of them friends to come and join the Sports DTM family. This has been another episode of Sports Down the Middle. Be blessed.